Good evening. This is Kate Coronel for CNN. By now, most of us are aware of the amazing and history-making changes that have or still are taking place in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, Syria, and other Middle Eastern countries. The amazing aspect of these is that they have sprung from a deep-seated universal desire of all people to be free from oppression. The right to live a life of dignity where basic human values that many of us in the West take for granted are longed for. We now call this the Arab Spring. And of course, we continue to await the outcome of what is taking place in Syria. Tonight, we bring you a report from Saudi Arabia that brings a different perspective on something women in the West take for granted and do every day without a second thought. This is simply the right for a woman to drive an automobile. You see, women in Saudi Arabia are forbidden to drive. There is not even a law against it. Instead, there is a government fatwa or decree that forbids a woman from something so outrageous as driving a vehicle. Tonight, we are going to cross to one of the courageous women who instigated a movement seeking to overturn this archaic decree. Her name is Ayala Lamini, and we shall hear from her as she negotiates her way through traffic in downtown Riyadh, the capital. She will tell us something of this background to this unusual revolt and why she chose to instigate it. Hello, Ayala. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. I am glad to tell you about the movement to give women the law right to be able to drive in my country. First, maybe I should say a little about myself. I am 31 years old and I was born in Riyadh. Different from most girls, I was lucky to receive a good high school education. I went to Oxford University and I did a degree in mathematics, but honestly I did not much like it. When I was in England, I learned to drive, and me and my friends drove all around England and even in London, where there is much traffic, so I became an excellent driver. After I graduate, I returned to Saudi and soon got married to a man organized by my father. He is a good man, and we have 3 children. Often my husband... Nikolak! Often my husband, he is away because he is in the oil business. Whenever we want to go out for shopping or picking the kids up from school, I always have to get either my husband or a driver or a man to take me. We women are not allowed to drive. I always think this rule is stupid, especially because all my driving when I was in England. Anyway, one day my daughter Tala, she got very sick from asthma. My husband was away and I cannot get any man to drive me to the hospital. I am not going to let my daughter maybe die because of this stupid rule. So I drive her to the hospital and there was no problem. No one stopped me and after that she was okay. After this, I started thinking, why should not women drive? The decree of no driving is ridiculous and causes much inconvenience. So I tell my friends about this and suggest we start driving. After 2 weeks, we have about 50 women driving in the city and... Shakunihan! Hey. Oh, sorry, some idiot man driver nearly crashed me. The religious police, they started finding out what we do. And one day they stopped me and give me a very bad time, like I am a real criminal. I was put in jail for 2 days. They don't even tell my husband or children where I am. Instead of making me scared, and stopping driving. I am more determined to keep driving. So we keep driving, and now lots are doing it. We post our driving on YouTube because it encourages other women to drive. Because I am the ringleader, the police will try to jail me again. But that will not stop me. I think that soon, eventually, the government will change things, hopefully, and all women who want to drive will be able to do. That is what we seek at first. And you know what after that? It will be a long time to equality. And we will do it bit by bit.
Jesus. Hey, Bruce. I've just been watching this thing on the telly about chicks in Saudi Arabia not being allowed to drive. Can you believe they're not allowed to go anywhere unless a bloke drives them? What friggin' bullshit. They showed this chick. Well, they didn't show her because she had on one of them sack burqa things. And she's been chucked in jail just for driving. Maybe they'd have had a law like that here and I wouldn't have pranked your ute last year. Even if they do let them drive, how the hell can they see what they're doing when they got their faces covered up with their bloody burqas or kebabs or whatever they are? Remember that chick who got stopped by the cops in Sydney wearing one? And she reckoned the cop had tried to rip it off. She went to the cop shop and complained, and then a video turned up showing the copper hadn't tried to rip it off. They charged her for making a bullshit complaint, but couldn't prove it was her because the chick was in a burqa when she raised a fuss about it. I say smart lawyer and dumb cops for not making her to prove who she really was. Don't think I'd turn you much on in a burqa. Hard enough to turn you on in a bloody G-string. Hey Bruce, you know, I really enjoy these intellectual discussions we have. It's bloody near impossible to shut you up. I suppose you want me to let you know when the footy starts, eh?